pollution control and sanitation measures, as well as prosecute maritime offenders. It shall also be responsible for port and coastal security, search and rescue, the protection and of maritime resources, including fisheries, and shall perform any other function conferred on it by any written law. Part 2 of the Kenya Coast Guard Service Bill provides for the establishment of the Council of the Service, the Technical Committee of the Service, as well as the appointment and qualifications of the Director General of the Service. The Council shall, among other functions, be responsible for the overall policy, supervision and control of the service, act on the reports of the Technical Committee, review penalties imposed on members of the service, consider the service budget estimates, commissioning of research by the service, and advising the President on any matter relating to the service. The Technical Committee shall advise the Council on policy issues, oversee the management and administration of the service, act on reports of the Director General, and make recommendations to the Council on any matter relating to the functions of the service. The Director General shall be responsible for the day-to-day administration, control, and management of the service, command the disciplined and uniformed component of the service, the effective utilization of the resources of the service, the training, education, and deployment of the members of the service, reporting on activities of the service, overseeing the implementation of the policies of the service, and submitting to the Council the budget estimates of the service as well. The bill also provides for the discipline of members of the service. It sets out the disciplinary offences and their penalties, and gives the Director General the power to summon witnesses in relation to any disciplinary offence. It also prohibits torture or other cruel, degrading, and inhuman treatment of any person by the members of the service. The Kenya Coast Guard Service Bill also provides for offences generally in relation to the service, including obstruction of members of the service in the performance of their duties, procuring or assisting in the desertion of a member of the service, the unlawful purchase of service stores, the unlawful dealing in service stores, the unlawful interference with aid to navigation, and the prohibition of the use of the name of the service. The bill also provides for the limitation of rights or fundamental freedoms of the members of the service, including the right to privacy, access to information, association, assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petition, labor relations, and economic as well as social rights for the purposes set out in that part. We are waiting for quorum to be achieved, and respective leadership in the House are mobilizing their members to come into the chamber to allow business to commence. The number required is 50. This particular sitting was approved yesterday by the House. Normally, the National Assembly holds a morning sitting on Wednesday and not Thursday. So for such a sitting to take place, then there must have been a procedural motion requesting the House to approve it. We're still looking at the provisions under the Kenya Coast Guard Service Bill of 2017, where the bill provides for miscellaneous matters, including the uniforms of the Kenya Coast Guard Service, exemption of the service from the execution of a judgment, decree or order of a court on any property of the service or for which the service is responsible. Thus, that plus so many other provisions, this particular bill will be debated for the second reading. The bill does not concern county governments in terms of Article 110, subsection 1A of the Constitution, as it does not affect the functions and powers of county governments as set out in the fourth schedule of the Constitution. The enactment of this bill shall occasion additional expenditure of public funds, which shall be provided for in the estimate. And now a quick recap of the business that we do expect this morning. The first reading of the Health Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2018. This particular bill seeks to make various wide-ranging amendments to various health-related statutes on matters relating to health policy. The bill contains proposed amendments to some statutes, among them the Kenya Medical Training College Act, the Nurses Act, the Medical Practitioners and Dentists Act, the Radiation Protection Act, Cap 243, where the bill proposes to amend it to confer quorum. Quorum has been achieved.
Order, members. Can you confirm that there are 50 now? Yes, yes. Now we seem to have the required quorum now, and therefore where business will begin.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Yes, under this one, leader majority, yes, I think you have a few.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, 26 April 2018, morning sitting. The report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the National Constituency Development Fund of Kadhiani Constituency for the year that ended 30th June 2016 and the certificate therein. 2, estimates of recurrent and development expenditure of the Parliamentary Service Commission for the year ending 30th June 2019 and projections for 2019, 2020 to 2021. And lastly, the insolvency in bracket General Amendment number 2 Regulations 2018 and the explanatory memorandum pursuant to section 730 of the Insolvency Act 2015.
Very well. The Chair, Defense and Foreign Relations, you have also something?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, April 26th, 2018. That is the report of the Departmental Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations on the consideration of the African Continental Free Trade Area and COMESA East Africa 26, 2018, and pursuant to Section 8 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the COMESA East Africa Community SADC Tripartite Free Trade Area Agreements. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Keter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order number 331, I seek leave for the adjournment of the House for purposes of discussing the disasters caused by heavy rains in the country. Honorable Speaker, the heavy rains that have bound most parts of the country since late October have continued to wreak havoc in several parts of the country. Over 60 people are thought to have lost lives and thousands forced to evacuate their homes over the last few months. In addition, properties of unknown value have been lost as a result of flooding and landslides. Further, infrastructure across the country has been destroyed. There is need to ventilate or know the State Department for Special Program. Speaker, it is for this reason that I seek leave for the adjournment of the House in order to discuss the matter of great national concern. I want to ask members to support it. Musimame bwana.
I can see obviously you have the numbers, but even before you have the numbers, you know, I really want to be sure about the specifics which we'll be discussing so that I see the amount of time that you will require. So I'll give about 3 members or 4. No, I mean, I want to give a few members so that I can see the magnitude, then see the kind of time that I'm going to allocate. Obviously, you have succeeded in having the time, but you know, the specific amount of time is what I'm trying to. So let me have 2 or 3 members. Honorable member for South Mugirango.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's indeed necessary, Mr. Speaker, to have this discussion due to the causes or due to the harms that have actually been caused by the rains. I'm actually the victim. I'm one of the victims who happened also to be, you know, caught in the rains when I was traveling from Kisii, the constituency. And I realized along my Mayo road, just when one is nearing my Mayo, Mr. Speaker, vehicles could not pass. The road is divided into two. And we left our vehicle and walked for about 10 kilometers. And it was actually at 10 p.m. at night. Myself and several other commuters, people were driving, and others even left their vehicles there to look for safety. And I think, Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that really needs urgent attention. And all relevant authorities concerned, all relevant bodies should now start thinking and acting, you know, with the necessity that this requires. Mr. Speaker, several people have been left homeless. This is not just about transport in itself. It's not about only, you know, this thing is also affecting the food security. It's affecting people. People cannot even go to work. You know, some constituencies, people are camping in schools in pursuit of shelter, and even those schools are not safe, Mr. Speaker. Okay. So this is a matter that is of grave concern, Mr. Speaker, and I think it's important that we look for ways to make sure that this one is resolved generally and collectively through relevant ministries. So I rise to second this.
Okay, Leader of Majority Party.
Chair, I want to thank Honorable Keter. At least now I want to thank him. Yeah, he has brought something very, very, very serious. You know, he does a lot of his business at the launch. But now he has brought, Mr. Speaker, there is a serious humanitarian crisis in our country. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, the whole of Tana River County is submerged. Part of Garissa County. Centers like Baraki, Gurufa, in Lagdera constituency, Mr. Speaker, people have not accessed food for the last 2 weeks. Speaker, roads have been cut. Construction, I mean, there's a complete destruction of the infrastructure. If you watch the televisions in Nyando, in Kisumu, and Mr. Speaker, that's why this country must have its priority right. Do these governors have to sit in Kakamega when the essence of devolution was to create, you know, and help the people that they represent? The Minister for Devolution and ASAL should not be sitting in Kakamega, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this matter should give us enough time, either this morning or in the afternoon, so that we discuss it. This matter. In fact, there must be, it's like there are many people of this country now today who are IDPs. Even in major towns where we never used to experience, you know, flooding. Today, there are major estates and urban centers that people have lost their private property, their houses, water have submerged. And Mr. Speaker, the weatherman is saying this will continue until June. So we must have the emergency recovery system in this country, Mr. Speaker. The military must come in, KDF must come in. Then we must allow Kenya Defense Forces, they have an obligation under the Constitution to come in and offer emergency assistance to the people of Kenya. We need these helicopters to go and deliver food and non-food items to these areas which are landlocked. The Speaker, you have seen in Makueni, there were over 30 families that were victims of the landslide. You have seen in Muranga. It's the whole country, from the savannah. And Mr. Speaker, I was even wondering, somebody was saying there's no water in the Kaini. That is a national security. It must be investigated. The MD of Nairobi Water Company was saying that it's only raining in the savannas. It's not raining in the Abadeas. So Speaker, it's raining in the desert, it's raining in the highlands, it's raining in the coast, it's raining in Nairobi, it's raining everywhere. The Almighty God has opened the skies. It's a blessing. But a government has a responsibility, Mr. Speaker. Has a responsibility. Mosquito is becoming a menace. Malaria is becoming a menace in some of the areas. People are going to die. There must be an assistance in the health sector,
You see,
in food items.
Leader,
So-
because first we have agreed that
So, Mr. Speaker,
the-
this matter is very, very serious.
So
and I want you
convince
to
me on the
allocate
time.
not less than 1 hour, 30 minutes.
yes, now
Yes.
that is what I want. So that members, you know, if you now start contributing to the substance, then I will stop you from contributing in the motion itself when it goes through. What I'm just interested in is to see the number of an hour or so, the number of hours that would require. So, leader of minority.
Mr. Speaker, let me start by encouraging you to allocate 2 hours for this debate. Mr. Speaker, I say so because we need to appreciate the effects of this effect of the rains, the flooding. We will discuss what could be causing this. It starts from the environmental degradation and many other things that will be talked about. I expect this House even to talk about how then are we going to mitigate the effects of the same, which will include the immediate ones like what the leader of majority was talking about, of involving the Kenya Defense, our Kenya Defense Forces, as opposed to just leaving this thing to Red Cross, as if Red Cross is a government organ. We will discuss how we should allocate funds to repair roads that are going to be damaged by this effect. So a lot will be discussed. Apart from the specific areas that are affected, I think this House needs not just to lament, but even to start indicating what we are likely to do in the event that these rains continue and even after. So,
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, that's why I'm urging
Okay,
for 2 hours.
so,
Thank you.
honorable members, I'm also trying to look at the kind of agendas we have this morning, and I'm looking that we will be having the computer and cybercrime bill, which in my own estimation would take about an hour and a half or two. So I think it would be okay if I allocated an hour and a half, and just in case we finish the cybercrime a little earlier, then we simply go straight to this particular adjournment motion. So it will take, it depends on how members will move. If they move faster, then therefore you will be able to have enough time to discuss this. But in terms of the specifics, let it be 1.5 hours. So we'll start at 11:30, which is not normal. That is a little more than is normal. We normally give an hour, and sometimes even 30 minutes. So this is going to be an hour and a half, but could be more if we are able to dispense with what is in order, what is in the order paper number 10, Committee of the Whole House on the Computer and Cybercrime. Okay, so let's move to, before we move to the next order, I think there was something from the budget, and this one is a serious issue, and I really want to congratulate the Budget Committee. I'm informed that they slept this morning at 4, which is, well, I know ordinarily the chair of budget sleeps at 4, but this one was on a very serious business.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is indeed true that I ordinarily sleep at 4 p.m., but this time I had to sleep at 4 a.m. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, April 26, 2018. Reports on the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2017-2018.
And obviously, you'll be giving a notice.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the second report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2017-2018, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 26th April 2018, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, and Standing Order number 243, approves the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2017-2018. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. And of course, in the afternoon, that will be the main item of our business this afternoon. So, and that is why really I thought it is better that we allocate time for that adjournment motion for this morning, so that in the afternoon we can really deal with the issues budget. Okay. Next order.
Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, the Health Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2018, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to make amendments to health-related laws.
See, Honorable Cheptumo, on which one do you intend to speak to? Is it on the statement?
Extension for time, Mr. Speaker, for the Parliamentary Service Bill.
So what is it that you want to do, so that we know?
I just want, Mr. Speaker, to request for additional time so that we are able to file our report as a committee on that bill.
You know, I have an issue with how you have approached the House.
No, filing, not a bill, Mr. Speaker.
Number one,
it is the report.
I thought
tabling
the report is supposed to be the leader of majorities. And I'm also thinking, is it that we are just going to go in that particular manner, or do we want to have a procedural motion? Let me consult briefly, then see, Honorable Cheptumo, how we can handle that matter. The best way is to have a procedural motion on it, and we place it in the order paper, and that we can do in the afternoon, and between yourself and the leader of majority, you will agree who will move this procedural motion. But of course, I know that is your committee specifically, but that is the leader of majority's docket really, but that's something that you can work it out yourselves. There is no major issue on that one. But then let's look at it in the afternoon. Let's have it in the afternoon so that it is in the order paper and we put it in the proper manner. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on the National Transport and Safety Authority, Operation of Commercial Vehicles Regulations 2018.
On this particular one, what remained was the question to be put, and I want to confirm that we have the required quorum. We have 50 members at least. So I put the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislations on its consideration of the National Transport and Safety Authority, that is Operation of Commercial Vehicles Regulations 2018, laid on the table of the House on April 17, 2018, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 18 of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013 and Standing Order 2010, the 210-4B, annuls in entirety the said regulations. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. And as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable members, we are now in committee of the whole house. Do I hear a point of order from Honorable Musimba? What's out of order, Musimba?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm standing on Standing Order 131. We had submitted amendments to this particular bill, amendments which are not appearing on the order paper. We had written several letters to the Speaker as my amendments were submitted on the 28th of March. 28th of March. As such, we had deliberations yesterday with the chairs of the two committees, that's Security and ICT, in accordance to a letter of the House, and we marry them as we are progressing in line with the same standing order. But the same has not been listed anywhere in today's standing order, Chair. So I stand to be one guided with a view of your discretion to actually postpone this particular sitting because there's a report which has to be given prior to proceeding with the committee of the whole House. Chair. And I can submit you a copy of the same letter if you don't have it.
Very well. Do I see any other member who wishes to join in with Honorable Musimba, Leader of Majority?
Chair, with a lot of respect to Honorable Musimba, he had a candid discussion for over 2 hours with the two chairs, and they have married the amendments. It will be very, very important if Honorable Musimba is very particular. He needs to look at the order paper and see what the two chairs have carried. Maybe whatever he has in mind is in the security amendment the chair of Honorable Koinange is carrying, or Honorable Musimba, Honorable Kisang, or the chair of ICT is carrying. Secondly, there are certain amendments, if they are of the view of the Speaker, that they fall within, and see whether some of his amendments have been left, and then the clerk can confirm whether those amendments were removed subject to something else. But I think they had a whole afternoon yesterday, and I don't think now we need to go into that bit.
The Honorable Musimba, you can just, you know how we do things. You don't have to be on your feet. You will have an opportunity. It is you who raised this. You will have the last word on it. But I would like to give this opportunity to the chair of the relevant committee, the ICT committee, also to just hear from him. The Honorable Kisang.
Honorable Chair, I wanted to say that yesterday we sat for close to 2 hours, myself and Honorable Musimba and Honorable Koinange, and we agreed that some of the amendments to be carried by Honorable Koinange. And Honorable Musimba is having several amendments on page 24 of the order paper, the long title, and some clauses on 16A all the way to 16H. And then he also has additional amendments on clause 3C. So that is what we agreed, that anything that, according to the communication from the Speaker, most of Musimba's amendments were carried by the chair on security.
Very well. The Honorable Musimba.
I've listened to the discourse by the majority leader and the chair of the ICT committee. This is not a true reflection of what we discussed from yesterday, 5 p.m. We agreed very clearly that the clerks were going to work on it, share with us, and it does not preclude me as a member of parliament to have my amendments on the floor of the House. There's no usurpation anywhere by the chairs of the committee, and Standing Order 131 is very clear. And that is why it calls for a report before the commencement of the committee of the whole House, so that what is in agreement is captured very well in the same report. What is still contentious will be captured in amendments on the order paper. So my rights can't just be, be taken away purely by an exchange on the floor. If we are following Standing Order 131, and to the extent of the money bill aspect, 114, I especially wrote a letter to the Speaker to say, please clarify, because it happened to Honorable Abdul Samad during the energy bill. And say, please clarify to what extent any clause within my amendments has to do with the money bill, so that I'm able to go and make the same presentations before the budget committee, as is the tradition of the House. And the only letter I received from him is saying, please refer these amendments in line with Standing Order 131. And Chair, just so that we're on the same page, I don't know whether you've received the same letter. Are you in receipt of the letter from the clerk's office? The one they wrote to me, so that we can exchange on the same page.
Very well. The Honorable Musimba, I will be making a communication on this issue after you finish your delivery.
Yeah. So, Speaker, and I think I must say this and say this clearly. This particular bill opens this country to grave danger and attacks. So we cannot treat it casually. We are opening Al-Shabaab to come in and work and threaten this country. So we cannot take this particular bill casually at all. So I would invite the Honorable Chair, as you're making your ruling and the directions as we move forward, to please consider this in the same breath, that it is of grave importance. Our country stands on this cyber security. If we are casual about it, we will fall, and we will not regret. And I've said it many times.
The Honorable Musimba, with a lot of respect, I don't think that this House has considered any matter casually everything that is considered by this House is considered with due respect, because this is the House of Parliament. So everything that is considered in this House is considered with the weight that it deserves. We cannot be considering anything casually. But be that as it may, I will now issue a communication from the Chair regarding the proposed amendments to the Computer and Cybercrimes Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2017. Honorable members, I wish to report to the House that on 20th April 2018, the Speaker received notice by the member for Kibwezi West constituency, Honorable Patrick Musimba, MP, intending to propose amendments to the Computer and Cybercrimes Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2017, at the committee stage. Honorable members, in his opinion, the Speaker noted that some of the proposed amendments were substantive and have money bill effect to the extent that they were proposing to create an institution on cybersecurity. In this regard, the Speaker directed that A, the proposed amendments be subject to the provisions of Standing Order 131, or that those with money bill effects be moved by the chairpersons of the relevant committees, and failure to which the amendments be stayed and not included for consideration. B, the proposed amendments that have no money bill effect be carried by the member for Kibwezi West, subject to harmonizing with those of the committees. Honorable members, I'm glad to inform the House that my officer has received the information that the amendments were discussed in a forum comprising the chairpersons of Administration and National Security, and the Information, Communications, and Innovations, and the mover of the amendments, Honorable Dr. Patrick Musimba. It was agreed that, 1, the amendments proposing to create an institution of cybersecurity will be moved by the chairperson of the Administration and National Security Committee. 2, the amendments relating to offenses included in the amendments proposed by the chairperson of Information, Communication, and Innovation be moved by that chairperson. 3, the amendments relating to cybercrime offenses are not included in the amendments proposed by the chairperson of Information, Communication, and Innovation be moved separately by the Honorable Musimba. It is for this reason, honorable members, that I have allowed the chairs of Administration and National Security and Innovation to move the said amendments, and I direct that the Committee of the Whole House on the bill proceeds as guided. I thank you. So, members, I think this addresses the issues that the Honorable Musimba addressed. We shall therefore proceed with the Committee of the Whole House. The Honorable Musimba, there cannot be a point of order on communication from the chair. All right, I'll allow you, but there cannot be a point of order on communication from the chair.
Chair, your communication is very clear. It says that I will move the amendments which are not covered. How will I then move those amendments if they are not on the order paper, Chair? They are not there. They are not in my name. They are not there. Chair, I refer you to the order paper. There's nowhere where there's any movement of any particular amendment in my name. So the order paper by itself is in contravention with the same communication.
The Honorable Musimba.
Yes.
I don't know whether you have the order paper for today. If you look at page 424, 424 of the order paper, you have 3 amendments to my reckoning. Honorable Musimba, so that we may just move, maybe you may want to acquaint yourself with the order paper so that the House makes progress. As you look at it, then to allow us to proceed, please.
Chair, I've seen about the offenses. I would like to hear the comments of the chair of security, because we've heard from the chair of ICT as far as the command is concerned.
The Honorable Musimba,
Yes.
we cannot do that because we'll be opening floodgates after you've closed them. It's actually flogging a hose after the stables have been closed. I have already communicated on that issue.
Can I get a copy of the communication, please? So that I can look at it, please.
Very well, the leader of majority, but I will not allow a lot of debate on this so that we can make progress. The leader of majority.
Chair, when the speaker or the chair gives a communication, Chair, that's it.
Yes.
In the parliamentary procedure. Yeah. Yeah. I am the leader of majority, whether you call me Ashab or not. Yeah. And that's why we need to put fake news. And Mr. Speaker, we need to move. We cannot be, these members are waiting to debate this thing. We can't be a victim of one person.
Very well. I think I'd already directed that we move. I will therefore direct that we move on with the business of the House as directed by the chair.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I move that clause 3 be amended as by the order paper to include this, Honorable Chair. We are deleting and substituting on clause 3, subsection B and C. This is to include the facilitation, prevention, detection, and punishment of cybercrime and the protection of human rights in cyberspace as part of the objects of the bill. Honorable Chair, I move. And the Honorable Chair, also, it's also important that to note, if a member has a particular interest, you know, it's also good to declare conflict of interest. Yeah, I mean, why is it? This is it's a national law. What is so particular about a particular one member, unless he has something is a particular interest that he needs to declare? He needs to declare, Honorable Chair. I move.
Very well. I propose a question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Musimba, you have something to say to this? Very well. I now put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
5.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I move that clause 5 be amended as on the order paper. This particular clause, Honorable Chair, is to ensure there is consistency and clarity on the clause, specifically for clarity. Just we are doing some cleaning up. Thank you. I move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members
So that we really make sure that we are safe.
Very well, the Honorable Sangok. Honorable members, unless one has a totally divergent position from what the Honorable Shamala very eloquently and sufficiently set out, I think we should make progress on it so that the House makes a decision on it. Unless you have a totally divergent position, the Honorable Manje.
Chair, why it is totally, in this case, I want to say, to support and say, in the social media, they are reading link where unwittingly you are linked to a site that you don't want to view. That's why it is very important to make sure that at least this amendment goes through. Chair, I think also the access, we should realize that children are like any other creation. When they are exposed to funny things, they grow the funny things, just the way any other animal will grow. So this exposure should be curtailed in our country.
Well.
I support.
Honorable members, allow me to give you this. The Honorable Wambugu, member for Nyeri, something different?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. I see us getting to the point where we want to discuss about passing that or keeping the bill, keeping that particular clause as it is. And I was just seeking direction on 13.2. Are we going to get there at some point to amend that, or are we going to discuss passing it as it is? Because 13.2 I do not agree with, Mr. Chairman. Because I do have a problem with anything that tries to justify that it is possible to have child pornography as a scientific research, medical, or law enforcement purpose. So I'm worried that as we... Yes, I just asked Madam Shamala, and she says she hadn't actually gotten to the point of presenting her amendment. And I'm worried that we'll get to the point where we are deciding whether we are keeping it or not. And that particular number 2 is, I find it offensive, in my opinion.
Very well. Honorable members, what we were dealing with, we are dealing with the amendment as proposed by the Honorable Shamala, holistically. And unless members want to deal with each subclause by subclause, then we can go in that direction.
But he dropped his amendment on clause 13, leaving clause 13 remains the way.
Yes.
And then she has done a further amendment.
Yes. So unless it is in the paper, in the order paper, then we cannot purport to amend it. So members, allow me to make progress. I will now put the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Shamala. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 13 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 14 and 15.
I propose the question that clauses 14 and 15 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 14 and 15 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
I propose the question that clause 16 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 16 be amended as on the order paper. Honorable Chair, we are talking about crimes on cyber harassment that covers 2 aspects of cyber bullying and cyber stalking. The amendment also allows for a victim to apply for restraining orders from the court. So, Honorable Chair, I seek support from the members to that this clause be amended as on the order paper. Thank you.
I propose a question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the chair ICT. Very well, the Honorable Shamal.
Proposed an amendment to clause 16
Yes.
that states that in BA is in whole or part of an indecent or grossly offensive nature and affects the person.
The Honorable Shamala, the way I'm proposing to move, I've seen your proposed amendment. There are 3 proposed amendments for this particular clause. There's one by the chair ICT, there's one by the chair National Security, and there is yours.
Yes.
So I'm proposing to deal with the one for the chair. Pose the question. I see interest from the Honorable Pukose, who has left the chamber. I will therefore now have to put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the chair ICT committee. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I will, members, I just want to make it clear for you. I will put the question to include it in the bill after we have dealt with all the proposed amendments by the 3 members who have proposed to amend. I will therefore now move to the next one and propose the question that clause 16 be amended.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the bill be amended in clause 16, deleting subclause 3 as per order paper.
Very well. I now put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the chair, National Security. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Shamala, we now come to yours.
16?
Yes.
Yes. Chair, I had proposed that we insert the words in a whole or part of an indecent or grossly offensive nature and affects the person in clause 16(1)(b).
Honorable members, look at page 427. That is where the proposed amendment by the Honorable Shamala is. Yeah, 427, page 427, at the bottom, the last bit there.
Honorable Chair, this is with regards to really cyberbullying and cyber stalking. And I went through the same legislation in the United Kingdom, and they do include these words of indecent or grossly offensive nature. I do remember parliamentarians stating in this House how they would get pictures of photographs on WhatsApp of offensive or grossly grossly offensive and of an indecent nature, which has an effect on the person receiving them.
Very well. I think it's self-explanatory. I will now put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Shamala. Will as members of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 16 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes in 18, 19, and 20 be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
I propose a question that clause 21 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 21 be amended as on the order paper. This, Honorable Chair, to make the use of computer technology to commit an offense covered under other laws constituting an aggravated offense with a penalty similar to the penalty set out in the law governing the initial offenses. Under the revised clause, the court will have a discretion to consider the circumstances of each case before applying the enhanced sentences as we are put on the bill. I move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 21 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 21 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 21 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 22.
I propose the question that clause 22 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 22 be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 23.
I propose the question that clause 23 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, ICT, there are two proposed amendments to this.
Yeah, there are two, one from ICT and one from security. That clause 23 of the bill be amended as on the other paper. This basically, Honorable Chair, is to require investigative authorities to maintain integrity and confidentiality of information they seize.
Chair, just give me a chance, an opportunity to give direction on this. Because there are two proposed amendments by you,
yes,
Chair ICT, and also by Chair National Security. And I think the one by the Chair National Security is proposing to delete the entire clause as it exists and substitute it with a totally new one. So I think, and yours is proposing to enhance it as it exists. So the right way to deal with it would be for us to deal with the one by the Chair for National Security. If that one then is carried, then yours will fall. So let us deal with the one by the Chair National Security first.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the bill be amended in clause 23 as proposed in the order paper. Honorable Chair, the clause lays down procedures that a law enforcement officer must follow to obtain a search warrant to conduct a search or seizure of stored data. The committee proposes to replace the entire clause with the proposed amendments to make the process acquiring the search warrant in manner that will support timely and effective detection, investigation, and prosecution of computer and cyber crimes, and respects rights to fair administration as enshrined under the Fair Administrative Action Act, in line with the preamble and the recommendation of the Budapest Convention and the paper by Colleen Barr on the Cybercrimes Act 2015 at Jamaica. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yes, that is, I will propose the question that clause 23 be amended as proposed by the Chair National Security, the Honorable Koinange. The Honorable Musimba, are you interested in this? Very well. The Leader of Majority?
I think, Chair, I tend to agree with the Chair of Security because at least there's a procedure that the law enforcement officer must follow to obtain a search warrant to conduct a search or seizure of any stored data. So if you compare what the amendment of the ICT Chair, I think it's better improved by the one that the Chair of Security has made it more clear. Because is proposing to replace the entire clause with his amendment. And I think what he has done is that there must be a process of acquiring the search warrant in a manner that it will support timely and effective decision and investigation. So that both you protect the investigating officer and you also protect, you give chance to the person in terms of fair administrative act of 2016. So that 2015. So that, and then of course he has brought the element of other best international practices in terms of the Bucharest Convention and that from the Jamaica. So I think the amendment by the security chair makes more sense. I beg to support.
Very well. Yes, it is true that this kind of action that is proposed, it is good that it is properly regulated and so that it does not offend the Constitution in terms of the right to property and fair administrative action. I see interest from the Honorable Amunyenye Wafula, member for Kandui.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Chairman, I also wish to support this proposed amendment by the Chair of Security. And just to add that it not only provides a clarity on how to manage the process of investigation and other related actions, but it also ensures that we have looked at the other related laws and the provisions in the international statutes. And therefore, we are also complying with the international statutes, looking at the UN and the other countries that the chair has cited. So, Mr. Speaker, this proposal will also protect all the parties that are affected and will ensure that we are able to comply with the interests, or rather to take care of the interests of other parties, but within the law. I support, Mr. Chairman.
The Honorable Kisang, I see you wanted to say something to this.
I wanted to say, as a committee of ICT, we don't have any issue with the amendments from the Department of Security, because it's basically enhancing. We're enhanced, but is better than ours. So basically, as a committee, we support.
So let us deal with it so that we come to yours. Then you can deal with yours as necessary. I now put the question that clause 23 be amended as proposed by the Chair, National Security Committee. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Before we move to the next stage, we will have to deal with your proposed amendment, the Honorable Kisang. Would you want to, what would you like to do with it?
Honorable Chair, because of what has happened, we have already taken the amendments from the Honorable Chair Security. The one on my committee stands dropped.
Very well. Yeah. I will now put the question that clause 23 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I propose the question that clause 24 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, we discussed this. I arise to move that clause 24 be deleted as by the order paper. The reason why, Honorable Chair, we discussed, we deliberated, there are so many issues, because in the bill, there was a proposal that a police officer or authorized officer could go into your premises or arrest without a warrant of arrest. And there is no justification, Honorable Chair, because to conduct a search without a warrant, the provision will offend, contradicts Article 24A and 31 of the Constitution, freedom of expression, and the others, Honorable Chair. So as a committee,
The courts will annul that piece of legislation. So I totally agree with the deletion by Honorable Kisang. If you look at here, he cited Article 24 and Article 31 of the Constitution. And 31 talks about the privacy. Every person has a right to privacy, which includes the right not to have their persons, their home, their property searched, their possessions seized, information relating to their family or private affairs unnecessary. And that's why the element of a search warrant has been brought. Because, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, one, we cannot legislate contrary to a provision of the Constitution. Two, we should not give security agents a blank check, you know, to violate your rights given under Article 31 of the Constitution. So I really want to agree with the Honorable Kisang that that section 24 we completely delete it because the other section that the security chair raised earlier can cover it. So we must also protect the citizens. And again, we cannot legislate if it contradicts a provision of the Constitution.
Very well. Honorable members, I think this particular proposed amendment by the Chair National Security, when taken with the one that we have just passed, we have actually allowed the police to get warrants. And then in the very next one, we say that they can move without warrants. I see a lot of interest, but I think for us to move, I will give two honorable members, the Honorable Soti and the Honorable Barire, to have a say on this. Then I'll give it to the House to decide. The Honorable Soti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, what I wanted to say is what you have just said, Mr. Chair, that that amendment actually contradicts the amendment that we have just endorsed, that is Section 23. Whereas Section 23 talks about a search warrant. This 24 talks about without a search warrant, which clearly contradicts each other.
Very well. The Honorable Barire.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think it's important that we do not legislate in vain. It is important that we all know that the rights that are enshrined in our Constitution are inalienable. In other words, they cannot be taken away from you by anybody or any institution or any government. So this particular house cannot be the one taking away the rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. And I think this particular clause that the chairman is proposing is open to abuse by authority. I think each one of us should put ourselves in the shoes of being the one being searched without a search warrant. And we also know, especially around politics, this is the one thing that can be misused, especially to fight an opponent. And therefore, I oppose this particular clause, and I want to urge the Chair of Security. Chair of Security, I wish to urge you to consider withdrawing this particular amendment. It is not in good faith and it is illegal.
Very well. Chair, having had the sentiments of members, unless somebody has a totally contrary position, I intend to proceed in this way. I will put the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed by the chair of ICT. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The chair for national security, what do you want to do with your proposed amendment?
I'll just drop it because
to
be similar to 23.
Well, that opens the way for me now to put the question that clause 24, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 25.
I propose the question that clause 25 be part of the bill. Honorable Koinange, you have a proposed amendment to this.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Under Section 23, the person who made the search shall, at the time of the search or as soon as practicable after the search, make a list of what has been seized or rendered inaccessible and shall specify the date and time of seizure, and in B, by deleting subclause 4. Thank you.
Very well. I propose a question that clause 25 be amended as proposed by the Chair, National Security. I see interest from the Honorable Kisang.
Honorable Chair, I stand to oppose this amendment because, Honorable Chair, what happens is if the security officers say your computer or any other material that you've been using to perform your work, there is no harm in you being given an opportunity to access your computer and copy and make a copy of what you have so that you can continue doing your own activity, because there is, they can retain what they have already seized, but it will be good for you to be given an opportunity so that you make a copy, continue doing your own other work. Because if you look at this particular case, supposing you are an IT expert, this is the server they have taken from you, and you don't know how long they are going to detain this particular server. How are you going to continue performing your daily duties?
Very well. The leader of majority, followed by the Honorable Ambuku.
Which you want to delete. It says a court may, on reasonable ground being disclosed, allow a person who has qualified under Section A access and copy data on the system. Chair, when a security officer comes to your house for a search warrant and intends to pick certain computer gadgets or any other thing, it's important, it's within the rights of that person to record and to take, because you never know that the moment you take those gadgets and equipment, more can be added, some more things can be added. So we must also protect that person where the seizure is being done. Because we have seen a situation where even people can put guns in your house, Mr. Speaker. So there was an abuse, and that's completely against fair administrative justice. So I really want Chair to, this time, to agree with us that we should not allow, give security agents on the pretext a blanket check. So allow the person, you are picking his computer. If it is Kenya Revenue Authority, for example, and they feel that you are involved in tax evasion, it's just important that that person copies the information that you are taking so that he can use it in a court of law. You can't just take his things and say that I found the following things, which himself is not aware. So I think I agree with the chair of ICT, and really want to ask the chair of security that we don't go to the situation of putting the question. You can as well just drop that amendment.
Very well. We shall have the Honorable Ambuku.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As a member of the National Security Committee, I rise to support that amendment that the chairman of our chairman has proposed. Why do I do that? When in any other circumstance where police officers are conducting an investigation, let's just use an example, that they have found you with a car that they think is being involved in crime. They take possession of whatever product or whatever item it is that they need to investigate, conduct investigations and finish. What we are saying is that if your computer has been seized by the police, you actually have permission to copy the information on that computer. Mr. Chairman, we have had incidences of bloggers creating fake news and then using it to hurt the reputations of members here. What we are saying is that if the police sees the material or the computer that that blogger has been using, you are actually allowing that he can be given access or be given permission to copy that material and continue using it. Because remember, the person who is being investigated is being investigated for a crime. In fact, Mr. Chairman, every time I listen to the conversations we are having now between ICT and national security, I go back to one of my initial problems with this bill, that we are trying to create a crime management process through ICT rather than through national security. Because this particular aspect of cybercrime, we are dealing with a person who is suspected of being a criminal. We are assuming that the computer that person has been using is his tool of crime, it's his gun. In any other circumstances, where an armed robber, you pick his gun. You go and conduct investigations on it. Here, the tool that is being used to commit crime is a computer. And you're now telling us that once that computer is seized, the suspect has access to the information even as the police is conducting the investigations. What is going to stop the suspect from continuing with the crime if he has a copy of the information that was on the computer? Mr. Chairman.
Well, the Honorable Wambugu, you'll appreciate that. If you commit a crime and it's a recognized crime, and you persist in doing the acts that comprise that crime, then you will have different, they're called, we call them, you will be charged as many times as you offend. So every time you offend, that is a charge. So if you persist, then definitely you'll be charged. But what we are speaking to is the right to property on mere suspicions. And I think that is what the leader of majority was speaking to. Let me not be the one to make this for this. I will give this to the Honorable Mutua Barasa, member for Kimilili.
Thank you, Chair. I also rise to support the amendments and make it clear that as a committee of national security, we discussed this matter at length. And my good friend, the leader of majority, I think his statement is a bit based on layman. But we as security experts, we looked at it in terms of...
Is speaking as it were. There is no member here who is a layman. Well, every member here is a member of parliament. And when you are debating matters here, we debate as members.
Mr. Speaker, I'm talking in... Sorry.
The Honorable Barasa, make your contribution on the proposed amendment, but without sullying the contributions by other members.
I was simply saying, when we were coming up with this kind of amendments, we really consulted the security experts, amongst ourselves, and I think as opposed to looking at the comfort of the suspect, we should look at the bigger picture that, once you give them an opportunity to copy, it's their own business. They should have a copy of what they are doing. Even in modern ICT setup, whatever you are doing is copied in some disk somewhere, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. And I think this amendment is proper in terms of what we want to achieve.
Very well. I will give two opportunities so that, and then I'll hand it over to you to make a decision one way or another. The Honorable Wamunyenye followed by the Honorable Ngwenye. Then we will move.
Mr. Chair, I think I should start by
Member for Dagoretti
saying
South, you will hold your horses just a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I should start by advising for free my brother Didmas Baraza. We do not have laymen in the House, Mr. Speaker. And the leader of majority can never be a layman. He's a legislator. He's a senior legislator here. And Didmas should learn, I know you are elected for the first time and you learning. I think you should speed up your learning so you understand that there are no laymen in the House. We only have legislators. Now, Mr. Speaker, having said that, Mr. Chair, I am a member of the Security Committee. But I have been wondering, after thought, Mr. Chair, what the chair is seeking to delete is as follows. Where a computer system or data has been removed or rendered inaccessible following a search or a seizure under Section 23, the person who made the search shall, at the time of the search or as soon as practicable after the search, do the following, Mr. Chair. A, make a list of what has been seized or rendered inaccessible, and shall specify the date and time of the seizure. B, provide a copy of a list to the occupier of the premises or the person in control of the computer system referred to under paragraph A above. Then the other bit that is seeking to delete is 4, Mr. Chair. Despite subsection 3, a court may, on reasonable grounds, being disclosed, allow a person who has qualified under subsection 2A and B access or copy computer data on the system or obtain a copy of the computer data. Mr. Chair, after thought and having looked at this again, I do not see how this injures. I mean, why is it being deleted? How is it injurious? How does this injure the administration of the law? And for this reason, because I don't understand, I don't see how offensive it is, I am opposing this proposal.
What will be the mischief that the National Security Chair will be attempting to cure? But anyway, I will now proceed to give this to the House so that we can make progress, considering the earlier communications. The Honorable Member for Dagoretti, I know you have an interest in this. Before I make that, I put that question, I think I will allow you to just have a... The Honorable Angwenyi, you will be the last one. Yes, I had forgotten you, but not for too long. You are the senior most member of this House. You will have your say. You will have your say. But you are saying the Honorable Munyinyi has covered what you wanted to say. Very well. Let us hear the member for Dagoretti South, then we shall put the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I will also not take much time because the Honorable Wamunyinyi has covered quite good ground, and we are also guided by what you have said. And the issue of an expert opinion has been sought here. And I'd like it to go on record that even when a computer is seized by a security organ, what normally happens is that they do not even operate on the actual hardware that carries the material software that is being investigated. They actually make an impression copy of what is carried in that hardware. In that sense, they do not even tamper with what originally existed within the hardware that was seized. But also, what the security committee is telling us is that there is a chance that there would be further modification or adjustment to data that exists. And any computer expert will tell you that any modification made within any digital system has a footprint which carries its own metadata. And as such, any modification that is going to be made is going to carry a footprint that shows the time, date, access, and modification done. So I do not see any offensive nature of anything that seeks to be cured by what the amendment by the Security Committee is seeking to do. And on that ground, I do oppose.
Very well. Members, I think you have expressed yourself sufficiently on this. I will now put the question that clause 25 be amended as proposed by the chair of National Security Committee. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Therefore, members, I will propose the question that clause 25 be part of the bill. I will now put the question that clause 25 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I propose the question that clause 26 be part of the bill. The Honorable Koinange.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the bill be amended in clause 26 as proposed in the order paper, and the clause 26 of the bill be deleted and replaced by the following new clause. 1, where a police officer or an authorized person has reasonable grounds to believe that A, specified data stored in a computer system or a computer data storage medium is in the possession or control of a person in its territory, and B, specified subscriber information relating to services offered by a service provider in Kenya are in that service provider's possession or control and is necessary or desirable for the purpose of the investigations, the police officer or the authorized person may apply to court for an order. 2, the court shall issue an order directing A, a specified person to submit specified computer data that is in the person's possession or control and is stored in a computer system or a computer data storage medium, or B, a specified service provider offering its services in Kenya to submit subscriber information relating to such services in the service provider's possession or control. Honorable Chair, sir, the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security Committee proposes the amendment for the following reasons. The clause lays down procedures that a law enforcement officer must follow to acquire and execute a production order for data. The committee proposes to replace the entire clause with a proposed amendment to make the process of acquisition of a production order in a manner that will promote timely and effective detection, investigation, and prosecution of computer and cyber crimes and respects rights to fair administration as enshrined under the Fair Administrative Action Act, in line with the preamble and recommendation of the Budapest Convention and a paper in the Commonwealth Journal by Colin Barr on the Cybercrimes Act of 2015 of Jamaica. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Very well. I will therefore now propose the question that Clause 26 be amended as proposed by the Chair of National Security. I will now put the question that Clause 26 be amended as proposed by the Chair of National Security. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 26 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So the chair for ICT, you had also proposed to delete, and now that the House has expressed itself by affirming and taking up the one by the chair of national security, yours necessarily fails.
Honorable Chair, because already we have taken up the amendments by the Chair of National Security, mine was to delete 4 and 6 because of the offenses. I mean, it was offensing the Constitution, but with these amendments, basically, he has enhanced them so that they don't offend in any way. So basically, we will marry.
You will live with it.
Yeah, we'll deal with it so that at least there is nothing offensive to the law.
We'll proceed.
Clause 27.
I propose the question that Clause 27 be part of the bill. Chair?
Okay, so Honorable Chair, I move that Clause 27 be amended as on the order paper. Basically, the Honorable Chair, this is to define the time limit for preservation of traffic data. And secondly, Honorable Chair, the requirement to maintain confidentiality of the existence of an order under the clause, which is not necessary. So, Honorable Chair, I move.
I propose the question that Clause 27 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I now put the question that Clause 27 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 27 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
I propose the question that clause 28 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 28 be amended as on the other paper. This is basically to rectify some spelling mistakes and to clean it up, Honorable Chair.
Very well.
I move.
I propose the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 28 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye.
Be amended as on the other paper. This is to delete a subjective reference and to rectify on the spelling errors.
Very well. I propose the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 29 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 30, 31, and 32.
I propose a question that clauses 30, 31, and 32 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 30, 31, and 32 be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
I propose the question that clause 33 be part of the bill. Chair?
I move that clause 33 be amended as on the other paper. This, Honorable Chair, is to include reference to the extradition, that is Contiguous and Foreign Countries Act. The two acts are complementary to each other in ensuring the successful prosecution of offenses under this bill. Those who are not within our jurisdiction are brought on book and charged in the code of law. I move.
I propose the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 33 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 34, 35, 36, and 37.
I propose the question that clauses 34, 35, 36, and 37 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 34, 35, 36, and 37 be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 38.
I propose the question that clause 38 be part of the bill. Chair?
I move that clause 38 be amended as on the other paper. This basically, Honorable Chair, is to rectify topographical errors. The words leave the clause open to abuse and allows disappropriation, proportionate hacking phrase. It contradicts the intent of the clause. Honorable Speaker, Chair, we are also trying to enhance the clarity of this particular clause so that it's very clear when it comes to implementation of the clause. It doesn't look like it's ambiguous. It makes it very clear.
I propose the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? No. I now put the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 38 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay?
I move.
I propose the question that clause 39 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 39 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 39 as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 40.
I propose the question that clause 40 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 40 be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 41.
I propose the question that clause 41 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 41 be amended as on the other paper. The central authority established under this be either bill falls under the purview of the office of the Attorney General, who does not have the prosecution powers under the Constitution. So I move.
I propose the question that clause 41 be amended as proposed by the chair. Leader of majority?
Chair, I really want the chair ICT to explain far better, because this central authority we are establishing, I think the DPP, who has the prosecutor powers, is a member. I mean, is it the same one we're talking about? Yes. So the DPP is a member, the DCI is a member, and all those other people who have gone through the DPP, they have prosecutor powers. So I really want to disagree with the chair that we should not remove the word prosecuting. Prosecuting is the essence. That's why we have brought the essence of bringing the DCI, the IG, is to investigate. And why we have the DPP in the Central Advisory Board is for him to prosecute. So if you remove the word prosecution, then you are telling us that the DPP has no role there. So I think I really want to ask the chair to withdraw that amendment so that we have it what is in there. Unless maybe you explain better.
Before the chair ICT speaks to this, I'll give an opportunity to the Honorable Munyenye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also looked at this keenly, and from the mover, the chair of ICT, he did not even clarify. He did not give an explanation. He did not convince, as to why these particular words are being removed and how, what problem he has with them. Because like the leader has explained, the prosecuting office, the institution, is important. Yeah, so we need to retain it, Mr. Chair. I thank you.
Very well. The Honorable Sotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the definition in this bill, the central authority is defined in reference to mutual legal assistance, which is basically a function under the Office of Attorney General, which does not have prosecutorial powers. So the committee thought that that particular issue of prosecution should be removed so that it's only investigation.
The Honorable Chair.
Actually, the Attorney General, those powers were moved to the Office of Director of Public Prosecution. That is why we said we don't, it's in the law, it's in the Constitution. Basically, the powers are not in the Attorney General's docket.
Very well, members, I think you have expressed yourselves on this. I will now put the question that clause 41 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I will now put the question that clause 41 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 42, 43, 44, and 45.
I propose the question that clauses 42, 43, 44, and 45 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 42, 43, 44, 45 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 46.
I propose the question that clause 46 be part of the bill.
Honorable Chair, we are deleting clause 46. This is to comply with the provisions of Article 94(6), subclause 6 of the Constitution by stating the limits, purpose, and principles applicable to the powers delegated to the Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Chair, the Cabinet Secretary may make regulations generally for the better carrying out into effect of the provisions under this Act. Without prejudice to the foregoing, the regulations made under this section may provide for designation of computer systems, networks, programs, data as a national critical information infrastructure. All of these are the other paper, Honorable Chair. So we are saying we delete and the powers delegated to the Cabinet Secretary to make regulations so that they may come to this House and basically we pass through the Committee of Delegated Legislation. I move.
Very well. I propose the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I now put the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 46 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of our contrary?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I beg to move that new clauses 3A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, the reason for including these new clauses is called for the Computer and Cybercrimes Coordination Committee to the committee functions in law to provide for the Secretariat, to provide for its reporting, to provide for the protection of critical information, infrastructure, to provide for information and sharing between public and private entities, and for auditing of critical information infrastructure to ensure compliance. I must admit that part of these amendments were originally proposed by the Honorable Dr. Musimba, and I wish to sincerely thank him for allowing us to benefit from his expertise on cyber-related matters. I, however, wish to move the amendment in an amended form to include the Principal Secretary responsible for information, communication, and technology, or his representative in writing as a member of the Computer and Cybercrimes Coordination Committee. Honorable Chair, I move.
Very well. I now propose the question that new clause 3A Three A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E, 3F, 3G, 3H, 3I, 3J be now read a second time. I see interest from the Honorable Sotsi.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, the Committee on ICT had made some recommendations on this area. But I stand to oppose some parts of this amendment, especially 3B2, that says the committee shall report to the Cabinet Secretary responsible for matters related to internal security. Mr. Speaker, this cybercrime bill is a very technical bill that requires a function of government that has the capacity to implement it. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, the ministry in charge of ICT has the capacity to implement matters related to cybercrime. Because at the moment, Mr. Chair, even the unit that is currently handling issues to do with the response to cybercrime is based at the Communication Authority. It is going to take us time to implement this bill if we are going to say the Ministry of Interior or Internal Security will be the implementing agency. Globally, the experience is that the issues to do with cybercrime are handled at multi-agency level, and this committee will handle that. But the technical ministry responsible for matters of cybercrime is the ministry in charge of ICT. So on that basis, Mr. Chair, I oppose that particular amendment. That is 3A Part 2. Thank you.
Very well. I see interest from no, members. You know how we operate here. All of you have showed interest here. We shall have the Honorable Musimba. This is actually debate. This is a debate, so everybody is allowed to have an opinion.
I thank you, Chair. And I've heard greatly what Honorable Sotia said, and I want the points that he has made are pertinent to the following level. CA is a regulator, and this is a coordination committee. And largely, we are proposing prosecutions of offenses as relates to cybercrime. And that is why it is important to be at the security docket. Because, and it's, when you look at the functions, even within for that coordination committee, it's further reporting to NSAC, which is the National Security Advisory Council. Because Article 240 of the Constitution is clear as to who has the overall lead when it comes to issues security. You know, so they are the directing agents. And further, when you look at the composition of the committee, you have people like the Chief of Staff of the KDF, you have the IG of police. Surely they cannot be reporting towards the PS of ICT. It needs to be coordinated from the interior docket, which is directly under the NSAC and the Office of the President. And that is what I'm just imploding to, you know, trying to encourage Osotsi to see it from that point of view. Because a lot of the operational issues to do with movement, including moving to the DPP, all those people are covered within that coordination committee. So I think we are all in congruence in terms of our...
Very well, the Honorable Musimba. I will now give Honorable Raswali this chance.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think looking at this bill, maybe from the beginning it appeared to be the property of ICT. But the more we delve deeper into the horizon, we see that these are security matters. And the minute we are saying it is about crime, I think the law and order clearly, we know where it lays in this land. And that is why let us not make it about an ICT and computer function. It is about national security now. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I think we have eaten into time that had been allocated for something else. We are trying to do this so that we can clear up this, so that we can move on. I will give it to the leader of majority.
Chair, from clause 3A to J, it talks about the committee, the Computer and Cyber Crimes Coordination Committee. And if you look at the membership, you even have the CDF there, you have the DPP, you have the AG, the scope of the offense of publication of false information to tackle emerging offenses of fake news. The ingredients have been informed by the existing legislation from similar jurisdiction in the Philippines and in Malaysia. The definition falls within the offenses that relates to the scope of the offense within the bill and that are conducted over a computer. Chair, if members can remember, the late Honorable Biwot died 10 times. 10 times through fake news. Mugabe died 5 times through fake news. Mzee Moi, when he just only went for a knee injury in Israel, people decided to kill him. So, Mr. Speaker, there's a serious fake news, false publication. And I really want members to support it, so that the amendment does not offend the provisions of Article 34 of the Constitution. We really look at it with the Legal Department of Parliament. So that if you publish false information, the offense is so grave that it's either you pay 5 million or a fine, prison not exceeding 10 years, or both. So that those people who sit and use gadgets to create alarm, to create false news, to publish and harm others must be dealt with under this law. So I beg to move.
Very well, honorable members, allow me to put the question that to put the question that new clause 12A be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that new clause 12A be part of the bill. The Honorable Amunyenye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this one, I must applaud the leader of majority. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, a person who knowingly publishes information that is false in print, broadcast, data, or over computer system. This, Mr. Chair, is something which we must deal with. And this law, this proposed new law, will help us to deal with misinformation, false reporting, and all kind of mischief that comes through this, Mr. Speaker. So I rise to support this new clause introduced by the leader of majority, so that we curb any attempt by any persons to injure others falsely, and that action must be taken against them, Mr. Chair. I thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 12A be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clauses 16A, 16B, 16C, 16D, 16E, and 16F.
Mover. There are three separate.
Oh, yeah.
Those ones are, the chair is sitting.
Those ones are mine. You know where. Yes. Honorable Chair, we are proposing as myself and Musimba and the Chair of National Security that all the 16, clause 16 from A up to the end, including mine and theirs, that they are moved together and then we contribute jointly. So, Honorable Chair, I move that...
That is your proposal.
Yes.
I need to get the concurrence of the other proponents. Okay. The Chair for National Security?
Yeah, we concur, Honorable Chair.
Well, the Honorable Musimba?
I concur, Chair.
Very well.
We marry the language and
very well.
dispense with it.
So we shall consider all the proposed amendments together so that we move in a neat way. Very well. Chair ICT, proceed.
Honorable Chair, I move that insert the following new clauses immediately after clause 16. Clause A, 16A. This is inducement to deliver electronic messages. A person who induces any person in charge of electronic devices to deliver any electronic B, a person who intentionally hides or detains any electronic mail, message, electronic payment, credit, debit card which was found by a person or delivered to the person in error or which ought to have been delivered to another person commits an offense. Honorable Chair, this particular one, if you go to some jurisdictions, some countries, with your credit card, they don't need a PIN or a password. So basically, those who may get your credit card or even debit card can use it actually without ado. A person who unlawfully destroys or reports any electronic mail or processes through a media which money or information is being conveyed commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. 16D, C, I've already said C. D, a person who transfers, publishes, disseminates. This is a wrongful distribution of obscene or intimate images, like what Mheshimiwa Sangok was just telling us this morning, that, you know, some people can just post, can send you some photos that I've seen. And, you know, our children are experts in the IT. The moment they take your phone, they'll see many things. And, you know, the
Honorable
way
Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you are proceeding well, but because of time and because all these things are set out in the
good.
order paper.
I just say, as per the order paper, I
Yes.
move, Honorable Chair.
Unless a member has a very contrary view, so that we can
You
move.
can give the other chairs.
Yes, so that they just concur with you, or yes. The chair for national security.
We concur.
Very well.
Chair.
The Honorable Musimba.
I concur as well.
Very well. I will now propose the question that new clause 16A to 16H be now read a second time. And
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I believe this schedule 2, we had brought these amendments. The Honorable Leader Majority is going to do some recommittal on clause 23.
recommittal is in order, but
Yes.
the business that you're dealing with, Chair, is the schedule.
Good. So, Honorable Chair, I move that second schedule be amended as on the order paper.
Very well. I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed by the Chair ICT. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as members of that opinion say aye? Will as members of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Chair, you have an amendment to that? Clause 2.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I beg to move that the bill be amended in clause 2 as proposed in order paper. Honorable Chair, that clause 2 of the bill be amended as follows: by deleting the words information, communication, and technology, and substituting, therefore, the words national security, appearing under the definition of the words cabinet secretary. Honorable Chair, first, I want to say to honorable members, and most of us have already agreed, and the leader of majority have said, national security should be the vessel that will carry this particular bill. First, a simple reading of the long title reveals that the bill is built to provide for offenses relating to computer system to enable timely and effective detection, investigation, and prosecution of computer cybercrimes. Honorable Chair, accordingly, timely and effective detection, investigation, prosecution of computer and cybercrimes can only be spearheaded by a national security organs, such as National Police Service and the National Intelligence Service, both practically and under Article 239 of the Constitution. National security organs are coordinated at the level of the national executive under the ministry responsible for the matters relating to national security. Honorable Chair, we have been doing a lot of research with other countries, and we noted with places like Jamaica. Jamaica have tried to put the cybercrime bill under the Ministry of Information, and it has failed. They have not been successful because all the time they need national security to implement. So, Honorable Chair, I really appeal to the honorable members that we change and make sure that it is under national security. We will carry this bill, and this will make things very easy for us to implement this particular bill. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Very well. I propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the chair of the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security. The Honorable Osoti, what is out of order?
Mr. Speaker, or Mr. Chair, I have an issue on the issue of which ministry is responsible. I know the majority leader has.
But that is not a point of order.
But I just want it to be put.
Having this bill domiciled in a place where there is research being done continually on matters to do with information, communication, and information. And to bring it into context, when we get examples from elsewhere in the world, I want to quote one of the finest performing ICT experts in this country, Michael Joseph, who said Kenya is a peculiar country. And peculiar in the sense that we leapfrog in terms of technology. We do not follow the normal procedure of growth in technology advancement as other parts of the world. And as such, I do believe that the amendment to bring in the Cabinet Secretary of Interior is not well placed. And as we understand the situation to be right now, the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology is investing heavily in keeping up with technology, but even more in innovating. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
We shall have the leader of majority, and then I shall give this to the House to decide one way or the other.
Number one, Chair, there's no bill that belongs to ICT Ministry. The bills come to this House from Cabinet to the AG to the leader of majority, who has appended his signature. So there's no law that we make for specific ministries. We make for the people of Kenya. And government is one. And government and the cabinet acts in one. But let me come to the essence so that I can answer my good friend, Honorable Yotsi. There is the title of this bill, there's an element that talks about cyber crime. ICT does not deal with the crimes. That is why we have the DPP, that the moment CAK identifies and the other agency identifies the crime, it is for the DCI and the DPP to do the prosecution through the said law office. That's why we have the governor of Central Bank being a member of this committee. For that, he can represent the fraud that takes place in the financial sector. You can't have this bill without the governor of Central Bank. That's why you have the National Intelligence Service Director General. So this is a committee, and this committee is multi-sectoral, and you'll find it in many other bills that this House passed. We have in many other legislation that we have passed. So there's nothing peculiar this time. And that is why for the ICT Ministry, the Principal Secretary, ICT, and the CAK Director General sits in this board for them to take care on the interests of the ministry. So I think we are creating a mole out of a mountain. I mean, the matter, we have done it, and let's move it.
Members, I want to give you this to deal with in the way that is the best. I now put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the chair, Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause. Very well. Before we put it to include it in the bill, there are two more proposed amendments by the Honorable Shamala. The Honorable Shamala?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I beg to move that Clause 2 on interpretations of terms as amended as per the other paper be included. Mr. Chair, it's with regards to the definition of the word pornography. Mr. Chair, in all the legislation that I have perused, there is no definition for the actual word pornography. Definitions are important as they enable us to have a common understanding of what it expresses and the essential nature of the word.
Groen, I now propose a question that Clause 2 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Shamala. I now put the question that...
So that it's in congruence with the other amendments we've made within the bill already.
Very well.
Thank you, Chair.
I will propose the question that the long title be amended as proposed by the Honorable Musimba. I now put the question that the long title be amended as proposed by the Honorable Musimba. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the long title as amended be the title of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
The mover to move agreement with the said report.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the committee of the whole, no, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I request Honorable Koinange, Chair Security, to second the motion for agreement with the report of the whole committee of the whole House.
The Honorable Chair, then you need to say whether you're recommitting or you're not recommitting.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I do second and recommit the 23, not yet. Thank you. I do second.
You've seconded. I propose the question of members, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said reports. Honorable Leader of Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House be amended by inserting the words subject to recommittal of clauses 23 and new clauses 16A to H.
Honorable members, before I make a decision there, can we have 2 or 3 people make some comments? 3 members. I have to confirm whether we have the number to put the question. Clerk? Other members, I confirm that we do not have the requisite numbers to be able to put the question to the recommittal, and I so do order that this question will be put in the next appropriate time. Next order. Honorable members, there was a motion of adjournment by the Honorable Keter. And Honorable Keter, you can have the floor and move a motion for adjournment. Other members, Honorable Keter, you have the floor. Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 331, I seek leave for the adjournment of the House for purposes of discussing the disasters caused by the heavy rains in the country. Honorable Speaker, as I speak at the moment, last night, there were so many cases of reported incidents all over the country. from Machakos County, Tana River, Isholo, Marsabit, even in Nairobi. I know of so many roads that have been closed because of the same issues that are touching on heavy rains, from floods to landslides. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate members for supporting me this early this morning when I moved it. And I want to say that we really need to give solutions. Let us raise ways and means that we can curb the incidences so that we check on the losses, that we've lost so many Kenyans. I've seen the ministry, many ministries and many departments giving messages of telling Kenyans to be evacuated from different places. But I don't know whether they have the capacity in terms of the financial muscles to move these very Kenyans that have been advised to move. Like in my constituency, for example, along the Nandi escarpment in Kapchorwa ward, I have over 100 homes that have been given the message of you should move. Some have now been moved by the natural disaster of landslides, because their homes now have been are facing this challenge of landslides. I want to say we have so many departments. As I move, I want to ask Honorable from Mugriango South to second.
Honorable, this one we don't second. Honorable member, we are not seconding this one. It is very well put motion on adjournment, understanding order number 33. And of course, where members, the mover sought leave for this, and the speaker gave this hour for us to be able to discuss this matter of urgent and national importance. So the other members will have only 5 minutes to speak to this as a resolution of the House. Now I will give you as a speaker, not as a second, not from proposed from the just to speak to it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was actually rising on a point of order, not really seconding the motion, to propose the timing and the timelines, time allocation for contribution, considering that this is a matter of grave concern, and the time allocation is actually about 60 minutes or even less, and members want to contribute. I was proposing, Madam Speaker, that we limit contribution time to about 3 minutes maximum, kindly.
Honourable members, it's been a matter of national importance, and I'm sure every other member wants to speak to it, but the vote lies on you members, and he has rightfully done it at the start of the motion, and maybe I put to the House that every other member speaking will speak within 3 minutes. Will as many as are of this opinion say aye? And as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Ulufo Oda, member for Isiolo North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank Honorable Keter for bringing up this adjournment motion. I think as Kenyans, we should appreciate that we are facing a very serious humanitarian crisis occasioned by heavy rains, which we have received across the country. Madam Speaker, I want to draw attention of the members to press release. This particular release was done on 19th of February, and it painted a picture, a seasonal forecast, where the rain will be depressed. But what we have received is contrary to what they forecasted. I don't know whether probably this came about as a result of use of obsolete equipments, in which case probably the Committee of Environment need to consider proper funding for that particular institution. Of course, they have corrected that in their forecast for when they gave us update of rains in March and forecast for April and so on and so forth. As we speak, according to Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance of the UN, 211,000 Kenyans are displaced. 72 are reported dead. I'm sure there are many deaths which are not reported, especially from Asal, where the media have no access. And out of this, it is only 10,000 Kenyans who have been reached by some form of support through Kenya Red Cross, which accounts for only 4%. And this tells us the importance of us discussing this issue as an issue of concern. 8,450 acres of land are already submerged, and therefore, Madam Speaker, because my time is up, I have a lot of important data, but the time may not allow me to do that. But most importantly, from past experiences, we are likely to have Rift Valley fever outbreak. We need to be on the alert. And therefore, I think we need to support the relevant government agencies with adequate resources as we do actually the, as we look at the budget, supplementary budgets, we need to allocate adequate resources for Ministry of Interior and those other ministries which deals with disaster responses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Rigo Kubai, member for Gebe Central.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this adjournment motion by Honorable Ketel, and I thank him for the same. Madam Speaker, here in Kenya, we have a problem of being, we cry every time. In January, in February, we had an adjournment motion here when we were crying of drought. Now we have another adjournment motion crying of rain. I don't know where we fit, but all you know, it's a disaster as is being said. Today I have just read in the breaking news that around 200 students will not be reporting in Tana River because they cannot access their schools. The schools are submerged, and this is happening all over the country. There's no road in Suswa, Mayo, and in many other places. Madam Speaker, we need to have a properly set disaster management committee in this country, and more so because of these great rains. I mean, a lot of rains. I would request the government to put to use the KDF officers and the equipment, provide the choppers and the NYS and the machinery to try and mitigate this disaster, Madam Speaker. More so, the Treasury should be compelled to set aside the funds for every constituency to repair the roads, because I believe there's no constituency which has got any passable earth road as we talk. Most of the roads have been swept, and as a way of mitigating the same, in this supplementary budget and in the budgets to come, we put extra funds as an emergency fund so that each constituency gets money to go and repair these roads, because I know once the rains subside in May, in June, as it is said, it will be, I mean, we shall have no roads in our constituencies, and it is important to get that money to do the same. Madam Speaker, there are those schools which have also been marooned. There are families which have been marooned. They need to be compensated by one or another, by one way or the other. And at the end of the day, let us not only rely on this Red Cross only. The government has to come in strongly. Because of time, I support the adjournment motion.
You support the Honorable Member for Sabot, Honorable Luyaya Misi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also rise to support this motion by Honorable Keter, the usual victims of such calamities. We have had constituencies like myself, Saboti, where a bridge that was under construction collapsed, and we had, serious effects, and even one person died. And somebody may wonder, why are we even talking about disaster management when we have meteorological department, a full-fledged parastatal, which is, under operations using state resources, taxpayers' money? Are they doing how is their dissemination of the information to the public? Are we made aware of the weather forecast? That is a question you should be asking. So I support this because where I come from, Saboti, for example, the students
the learning has been paralyzed. Students are not able to access schools because the bridges that connects the, the roads have been made impassable. The border operators cannot operate anymore. So the effects of this is beyond measure. And we are looking at a country that never learns from history. We should not be a country that never learns from history. They say, if you do the same mistake over and over again and expecting different results, you can only be termed as stupid.
So special programs to step up. I think as we are moving forward, we should get a mechanism which start dealing with what is critical. Is it infrastructure, in terms of roads? Is it about food security, which should curb? And we pursue this as a matter of urgency, that indeed, as we've taken leave to discuss this issue, is to simply say that even CDF itself can be able to respond and partner with special programs. And that would be immediate and right across the board, so that all the members are simply be able to bring proposals, and they're earmarked. And they will go to already established setup, which, is because it's a national government function, which would mitigate. So I think as we move forward, we just propose as a House and within the committee of CDF that special programs immediately disperses funds that addresses what has just happened within the Republic. So, Madam Speaker, without further ado, so that it allows other members to also contribute on this very important adjournment motion, I think that is how I would want to leave it. Thank you.
I think it's the high time this House actually approves that Red Cross should be given funds so that they are able to work for this country. Because at any time, instead of you seeing maybe a cabinet secretary, you are seeing the face of Abbas Guled. That is how important Red Cross has become. Madam Speaker, more importantly, I think there are issues of health. There are no roads. Many of settlements, particularly in northern Kenya, are impassable now. They can only be supported through lifts by helicopters, which most of our people, we can't afford, leave alone the people. Even we as leaders, we are actually very helpless. So we call upon the government actually to show leadership in this particular instance. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Mandera North. Next on my request list, Mandera North. The Honorable Abdullah.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank Honorable Kater for bringing this motion. Yes, this is very critical. We have come from a period of drought. Now again, we're in a period of flooding. We have had too much of drought. Now we are having too much of rain. The unfortunate part is that also we are not thinking so much about the catchment measures for the heavy rains that have occurred. In the places where I come from, in Mandera and specifically Mandera North, and Northeastern in general, we never used to have roads. Now, the little that we are thinking that we had roads have now been washed away. And imagine that kind of situation where you had no roads, you had something similar to roads, and they have been washed away. So this is really a disaster. And I know places where they have had roads, tarmac roads, have also been hit hard. So you can imagine tarmacs have been hit hard. What about places where there are no tarmacs? The other aspect I want to support my colleague from Marsabit is that Red Cross is actually the face of responding to these disasters. The unfortunate part is that they do not get any government funding for this kind of actions. And it's high time, as he said, that we must appropriate funds for the Kenya Red Cross, because they're in every village, every location of this country. So as a House, we need to stand with the Red Cross so that they can be in the forefront addressing these matters. But above all, we also have issues of, equipments belonging to KDF. The other day, the Susua and Maimai Road was cut. We have capacity for mobile bridges that can be deployed for people not to be stranded. So it's high time also some of these big machines that are also lying in warehouses, in yards, should be utilized, because they are also being bought by government money and taxpayers' money.
In Mandera, we had the people being cut off, the two. They can't reach the other side because the bridge was washed away. And we have no equipment to respond. So this is very critical, and we think we need to talk about how do we make use of these heavy rains and this flooding so that we can use them positively. Thank you, I support.
The member from where?
Thank you, Madam.
No. You don't, honorable member, you just came in. I saw you coming, and you follow a request list which is here. It is not about which house, there was a handshake. And,
Thank you, Madam Chair, for protecting us against people who just pop in and put the point of order button for the purpose of just contributing before others. Madam Chair, I want to support this adjournment motion, and in particular, I would want to bring to the attention of this
Honorable
House.
Simba Arat, I can tell you from where I sit, there is nothing which is out of
This is no, but that is not respect. When I'm
I can tell you there is nothing out of order, but let me hear what is out of order. And it would rather be something that is not
Thank you,
in
Madam
order.
Speaker. Madam Speaker, is it in order for you to be too biased in the way
And you cannot be given preference. There is a list of requests, and you cannot purport that the speaker is biased. Honorable Speaker, the members, and in this chamber, we don't sit in any side. It's a free sitting. So you either sit this side, you either sit the other side of the house. You are a member, and we have requests here to. Honorable member from where?
Thank you
I'm sorry
again,
for the interruption.
Madam Speaker. You've really saved us from the agony we normally undergo from some of the guys, again, who walk in and they want to talk before some of us.
Honorable member, just make your
Madam
contribution.
Speaker, you can.
Madam Speaker, now I'm not even sure when I start my 3 minutes.
I'm monitoring your 3 minutes. Just carry on. Honorable Simba Arat, can you put your mic off? Just put over.
I don't have a gadget.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I want to speak on this very important motion, adjournment motion, and especially talk about some of the low-level disasters that we have out there that go unnoticed, Madam Speaker. And I say this knowing very well that we have large-scale effects of the ongoing rains in Tana River and elsewhere, but I also want to say that we have some low-level effects in my constituency, Madam Speaker, where we have settlement setups in form of villages and what we refer to as canals for rice growing. We do have a lot of adverse effects on the ongoing rains, Madam Speaker, and as we speak, I have an area in South Gariama where more than 20 families have been displaced. We have an area in a place called Wamumu, Kiandegwa, Siagine, and Gatweri, where families have been displaced. And Madam Speaker, because these are low level, and these are areas where people do not expect that we have these adverse effects of the ongoing rains, we normally don't get assistance when others are counted. Madam Speaker, I want to support this motion and request that even as we look for solutions, then we must also look for some of these areas. I'm struggling with my emergency CDF to see what I can do, Madam Speaker, but that is not enough, and I cannot be able to help these people. So I support and propose, again, that we put in some budget that we can be drawing to when we come to some of these effects of the rain, as well as prepare ourselves and not wait until we do the firefighting, Madam Speaker. I support.
You support. For the purpose of the record, I must correct Honorable Simba Arat. Honorable Simba Arat, you can sit anywhere in this house, either side. Any member can sit, so it does not matter which side you came late. So the public should know. And Honorable Simba Arat, you are out of order. Yes. Honorable Simba Arat, you are out of order. You are out of order. You are out of order. And you have just come in this chamber. Honorable member for Honorable member Tigania West. Honorable Simba, I'll throw you out. No, Cecily Barilla, it's the speaker who is speaking. I'll throw you out.
Thank you,
Give the
Madam
member.
Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. Madam Speaker, I came from Stigania West this morning, and I ran away because the situation is impossible for me to handle, because the effects of the rains is too much. We are flooding all over the place. People have lost wealth, they have lost their houses, they have lost livestock. People have been displaced. Destruction of infrastructure has taken place. Bridges have been washed away. And Madam Speaker, I speak from a region which is not very famous with the Red Cross. So most of the time, you realize that the Red Cross does not respond to some of these areas. So they may not know what's happening in Tigania West. I have more than 7 locations which have already been affected, and more than 300 families which have already been displaced from their places. Some of them have been ring-fenced by the rains. They do not know how to swim. They do not have canoes. They have never lived in waters, so they do not know what to do. Madam Speaker, the other issue which is devastating is the fact that the effect will be even longer term, because the crops are destroyed by the extended period of rainfall. So we need to look at this as a country and ask ourselves whether we are prepared even to feed the people, because there will be no crops. All the beans are destroyed, the maize is stunted, there's a lot of problem, Madam Speaker. So even as we look at how much money should give to the disaster, to the relevant ministry, we should be asking ourselves, is it only taking care of the situation as it is right now, or even looking at the longer term effect? Because we are likely to face food insecurity because of the effect of the rains. Madam Speaker, health has also deteriorated. People have been affected by excess, too much mosquito. There is a lot of bilharzia. There's a lot of water which people are not used to handling. And therefore, there are problems all over. We need to declare this as a national disaster so that the national disaster response mechanism can be put in place, and therefore, our people will be salvaged. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, I will, at my own discretion, add 5 more minutes to the time of the closure of the House.
Can never sustain some of these basic natural causes. We find that the basic box culverts that are made, like in my constituency, all of them have gone with the floods. And money is paid towards this work. It is done, it is inspected, and anytime there is rain, we just have places not accessible. So I would want to urge our engineers, our technical people in the engineering field, and also the people who do the contractors, that it is important that they do a good job, because it will always rain and we'll always have a drought. I also want to take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to thank the Red Cross, the Kenya Red Cross. And it is in these times that we remember that the Kenya Red Cross exists, when we need help, when there is disaster to be managed. But we also forget that the Kenya Red Cross also does other beautiful things during drought, like they are now co-funding projects. I'm informing colleagues that they are co-funding, the Kenya Red Cross is co-funding projects in water, in sanitation, and also in health, and in food security. So it's a good motion I support. I can see my time is up. But as Kenyans, we should come with sustainable mitigation measures. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member for Galole, just 1 minute. Just plan your 1 minute.
Asante sana Madam Speaker kunipatia fursa hii. Jambo la kwanza kabisa, kwa sababu ndio mara yangu ya kwanza ya kuzungumza hapa ndani ya bunge, ni kuwapa shukrani kwa watu wa Galole kwa kunichagua. Na la pili, kwa sababu ya wakati, ni kwamba vile unavyojua Tana River, aidha tuna janga la mafuriko ama janga la ukame. Shida hii ambayo kwa imetupata kule Tana River imeathiri sana Tana River. 70% iko ndani ya maji hivi sasa tunavyozungumza. Mimi ninatoka huko na kuja jana. Kuna watu wengi ambao kwa katika wodi yangu ya Galole, constituency ya Galole, wodi ya Wayu, wodi ya Mikinduni, wodi ya Chewani, Kinakomba, zote ziko ndani ya maji. watu wamezungukwa na maji. Watu 14 hivi sasa hawajulikani waliko wameathirika. Tumepewa chopa na serikali, lakini chopa hiyo imeharibika. Mpaka sasa watu wako kwa shida. Kwa hivyo tunaomba ile kitengo cha serikali ambacho kuwa kimepewa nafasi hii ili kwa hali ambayo kuwa inawezekana, tafadhali wasaidie sehemu hizi ambazo kuwa zimeathirika za Tana River. Asante sana.
Thank you, the member, and even for your maiden speech. Honorable members, I must appreciate this is a matter of national importance. Every other member, and I can tell you, have 9 requests, wants to speak to this. I did had 4 more minutes. The member for Runyenjes, member for Nandi Hills, the member for Kajiado, that is Deya, member for, Honorable Ongera Janet, Honorable Waweru Kiarie, Honorable member for Mburi, Mheshimiwa Leshomo, Mheshimiwa Olioch Madhare, Mheshimiwa Muturi Kingangi, Bere South, Ibrahim Abdisal, Wajir North, all these members, I must say, want to contribute, are ready to contribute to this. And thank you for the requests. Members, as House of Rules and Procedure, the time now being 1:05 p.m. This House stands until Thursday, 26 April 2018 at 2:30 p.m. I thank you all.